So in the last video we tested our timer, and we were able to add this little visualization that showed the time elapsing. And in this video, video 7, we're going to add a counter to the system. So I'm going to go to the first tab along, PLC_PRG, and we're back in our programming space. To do this, to add a counter, I'm going to add and test the counter. I'm going to add another push button. So to do that, I'll make it a physical button that'll link to the hardware. So I'm going to go to the fourth tab along into PLC configuration and create another push button. So I'll just call this one push_button 1. And that's another input added. And go back to the first tab into PLC_PRG. In the grey area, left click, then right click, and add a network after. Click on that line, third network, and add a contact. Highlight the question marks, press F2, and find my push button. Press enter. And then I'm going to add the counter. So go to insert a function block, and go and find counters in standard function blocks. So here's my counters. Options are CTD, which is a countdown counter, CTU, count up counter, and CTUD, which is a count up and down. I am going to use a count up and press OK. So I have to declare the counter, give it a name, declare it as a variable. So I'm just going to call it counter1, press enter. I'll make it a global variable, check it's a CTU type, and OK. The reset button, if we want to reset, then we have to add a variable there, and if we don't, if we wanted to ignore the reset command, then we could just delete the question marks. But I do want it to reset, and I want it to reset with the start button. If the start button gets pressed, my counter is back at 0. So F2 and start button. This PV value is the count. So it's a word value, and it's, you put a number in there for whatever you want the counter to count up to. So I am going to make it count for 4 counts. The CV value, similar to the timer, this is the actual count. And we can use that in our visualization later to see actual count. And the Q value will become active once the counter has received 4 pulses from push button 1. So I'm just going to create another output variable here and start to type. I'm just going to call it counter1_output. Make it a global variable, and it's a Boolean style counter, so it'll either, or Boolean style output, so it'll be either on or off. And I now need to use this counter1 output to interrupt my cycle so that it actually does something. So I'm going to use the counter. If the push button gives us 4 pulses, I want the motor to go off. So what I'll do is add another normally closed contact, F2, and link it to the counter1 output. So now what will happen is start button will be pressed. All of these are normally closed contacts, so they will allow current to flow. Motor 1 will come on, and this normally open contact will close, and so it will become self-latched. If the stop button is pressed, the motor will go off. If the time elapses, the motor will go off, and if the counter gets 4 pulses from the push button, the motor will go off. I'm going to adjust this timer slightly so that we have enough time for the counts. I'm going to push the time up to 10 seconds so that when I'm pressing the push button in the visualization in the next video, I have the time before the timer lapses. And I will go to project and build 0 errors, 0 warnings, so everything's okay. So in the next video I will test the counter using a visualization.